Wait and jail him. That's what the bailiff muttered, under his breath, just loud enough for me to catch it while they called my name. I can laugh about it now, but at the time, I felt like every eye in the Riverdale Municipal Court was burning a hole through me. Rain was tapping out a steady bead on those old courthouse windows that morning, and inside, folks shifted restlessly on benches that had been worn smooth by decades of anxious hands, nervous parents, tear-stained lovers. I guess I looked like I belonged there, a tired old man in a thrift store jacket, hands shaking just a little, but I promise you, that's not the whole story. Not by a mile. You want to know the real gut punch? 3 years on the streets, you learn how to disappear, how to keep your head down and not make trouble. Doesn't matter what you used to be, Marine, father, brother, because now you're just another face, another case, another problem to be moved along. After my apartment building got snapped up and flipped for condos, my pension didn't stand a chance against rent. Shelters were always full. The best I could hope for was a dry corner by the old library, where a Gulf vet on the night shift let me slide by until morning. That's how I ended up here, case 47623, the city versus Mason Quinn. Yeah, that's me. My crime, sleeping in the bank's heated ATM vestibule. The prosecutor read off my charges like she was reciting a grocery list: loitering, trespassing, refusing to leave when security asked. I shuffled up to the defendant's table, knees still aching from shrapnel that never really healed, and my public defender, just a kid, honestly gave me a look that said, "You're number 17 out of 30 today. Let's keep it moving." Judge Olivia Parker was running the show. She'd built a reputation on being efficient cold, some folks whispered. But right as she started into my file, she paused, squinting at the paperwork. "Mr. Quinn, it says here you're a veteran. United States Marine Corps. Served from 73 to 95, with a return for Iraqi freedom." "Yes, Your Honor," I answered as steady as I could. For a moment, I saw something flicker behind her glasses, like she was trying to remember a face from way back. "Were you in Fallujah, 2004? She asked. That caught the prosecutor off guard, too. "Yes, ma'am. 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines." My back straightened up on reflex, even though it hurt. She went quiet for a beat. Then this is where things got weird. She actually stood up, announced a recess, and vanished in her chambers. The whole courtroom started buzzing like someone had just pulled the fire alarm. Turns out, behind that heavy oak door, she was holding a photo, a dusty old shot of 2 young Marines, arm in arm, grinning like fools in the middle of Iraq. On the back, an inscription, "To my sister, live your prayers worked." Quinn pulled us out when no one else would try. Her brother, Michael. I had no idea. To me, he was just a scared kid who didn't want to die in the sand. I carried him through hell and got us both out alive. Never expected anything for it. A knock interrupted her, and in walked Alexander Rossi, an old classmate of hers, now a lawyer known for fighting for veterans. "I know Quinn from the Outreach Center," he said, voice tight with frustration. "The man needs a real defense, not some assembly line plea deal." "Do you know who he is?" she asked Alex. "What he did in Iraq?" "All I know is the VA lost his paperwork. He's been living outside, fighting the system every damn day. And he's no criminal." "He saved Michael's life?" she whispered. It landed between them like a confession. You know, sometimes people with power actually listen to their conscience. Alex slid a folder over a thick stack of documents he'd gathered on me. Service records, medals, commendations. He told her, "Read this, then decide what's right." When she returned, Alex was by my side, and the whole tone in that courtroom shifted. "Mr. Rossi has requested to represent Mr. Quinn," Judge Parker announced. "Granted." Then she did something I'd never seen: ask the bailiff to bring me a real chair. Not the hard plastic kind, but a padded one reserved for expert witnesses. "Mr. Quinn, would you mind if I read your service record into the court record?" she asked. I shrugged. "Go ahead." Embarrassed, honestly. She started listing it: out Grenada, Panama, Gulf War, then Iraq. Multiple deployments, combat medic, Arabic speaker. 3 Purple Hearts. Silver Star. On November 17th, 2004, Sergeant Quinn returned under fire 3 times to retrieve wounded Marines, the last of whom was Lance Corporal Michael Parker, my brother. The courtroom went dead quiet. For his actions, he was nominated for the Navy Cross. The paperwork was never processed. You could feel the whole room shift. I looked up at her, really looked at her for the first time. She wasn't some faceless judge anymore. She was a sister whose brother had come home because of me. The city prosecutor started to push back. Relevance, she said, trying to get back on script. Context, Judge Parker answered, voice sharp. Mr. Quinn's not a criminal here because our systems failed him. The city failed him. Alex brought forward more evidence. Me VA appeals lost. My benefits slashed by some clerical mistake. My disability rating stuck at 30% when it should have been 100%. Mr. Quinn, were you aware you qualified for housing assistance? Judge asked. I was told I needed more paperwork. I said, tired beyond words. Been trying, ma'am, but I keep hitting walls. Judge Parker nodded grimly. Given these circumstances, does the city wish to proceed? The prosecutor, seeing which way the wind was blowing, stammered, we consider community service. That won't be necessary. Judge Parker cut her off. Case dismissed. All charges. Mr. Quinn, the court apologizes for our failures. Mr. Rossi will help you resolve your VA claims pro bono. Folks began to file out for lunch, but Judge Parker motioned for us to stay. She stepped off the bench and came right over to me, called me Sergeant Quinn. You remember my brother? Skinny kid from Minnesota, always carried a Bible. Yeah, I said. He made it home. He's a doctor now. Works at the VA. She nodded, tears in her eyes. He made it because of you. You deserve better than this. I shrugged. A lot of us ended up this way, ma'am. Nothing special about me. That's when a new player crashed. The Senior Bank executive named Townsend. Mr. Quinn, the bank's dropping all charges. We actually have a renovated home available, part of our veterans program. You could stay there until your benefits get sorted. I bristled. I don't need charity. It's not charity, Townsend insisted. Helps us too. Let's do this. Judge Parker leaned in. Please, Mason. My brother's alive because you didn't give up. Don't make us give up on you now. I caved. Sometimes you just have to let folks help. Townsend handed over keys, and Alex started lining up the paperwork. Just as we were figuring out what came next, a reporter started sniffing around. A local VA director appeared, too. She'd been hunting for me, trying to resolve cases flagged after a database meltdown. Suddenly, my disability was fixed. Back pay calculated $175,000, just like that. They fast-tracked my surgery, my benefits, everything. I looked at Judge Parker. Why now? What changed? She answered honestly, sometimes it takes someone in the right place, pushing hard enough to make the system move. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. That hit hard. What about the others? I asked. The ones who don't end up in front of the right judge. And that, right there, changed everything. By the afternoon, what started as one case became Operation Homecoming. Calls were made her brother on speaker, lawyers, doctors, even the bank. They put together a pilot program of Veterans Justice Center, legal aid, rapid medical teams. Not just for me, but for every vet who'd slipped through the cracks. Before I left that day, Judge Parker asked me to stick around. Military officers showed up in dress. Blues Captain Reynolds read out my Navy Cross citation, right there in court. 20 years late, but I finally got the medal. The whole room stood. I've never felt so seen. 6 months later, spring sunshine on the courthouse steps, I stood next to Judge Parker, Dr. Michael, Alex Rossi, and others. The sign behind us read, Veterans Justice Center. Not just for show. A legal and medical lifeline for vets in trouble. Over 100 cases resolved in the first 4 months. Scholarships, jobs, homes. I let 2 younger vets move in with Methy help with yard work. I help with paperwork. It's not charity, it's community. As folks drifted away, Judge Parker pulled me aside. None of this would have happened without you, she said. I shook my head. Just luck and timing, that's all. Her brother smiled. Heroism isn't a moment. It's carrying on, day after day, even when nobody's looking. That's the real story. Some days I wanted to give up, sure. But what kept me going was knowing there's always someone out there who needs you, someone who might be waiting for their own coincidence, their own break. As I was heading home, a young vet in a battered jacket asked for help. They said you could help me with my housing voucher, Sergeant Quinn. Yeah, I said, settling onto a bench. Let's look at it together. I've got time. The Navy Cross caught the sunlight, pinned to my jacket, not hidden in a drawer. For once, being seen felt right. Maybe the system isn't fixed, not yet but now, it's a little less random. All because one day, in a crowded courtroom, someone decided to see the man behind the case. So what do you think? Is that justice? Or just another lucky break in a world stacked with bad odds? I don't know, but I know this nobody who served should be left behind. Tell me your take. Where do we draw the line between justice and luck? And how do we make sure nobody slips through the cracks again?